This is one of the most important plyometrics to develop your explosiveness and sprint speed. So I'm gonna break down to you what this exercise is and how to do it and some progressions and regressions you can do to help develop your sprint speed, and that's about it. So this exercise is called a def jump. There's stuff called def drops, drop jump, def jump, and there's even other ones like high def jumps that are really potent exercises to develop your sprint speed. And the reason why it's so good for your explosive speed is because of what you're doing to the stretch shortening cycle. When you use the stretch shortening cycle, you're storing and releasing elastic energy at the tendon level. So tendon and the muscles go through a pre-tension that stores elastic energy, and then you release it with elastic power, or some call it elasticity, tendon strength, whatever it is to you, you're storing and releasing elastic energy to jump higher. Think about how high you could jump from a standstill, right? Just like this, and then when you add a drop to it, that's when you're using the stretch shortening cycle. So something like this would be using the stretch shortening cycle, but something like this is just muscular force, right? You can only do so much with muscular force, but things like dunking, like sprinting, you're never going to be sprinting or jumping or dunking from a standstill. You're always gonna have movement with it. So you need a very potent and strong stretch shortening cycle. Strong might not be the right word, maybe effective is the right word, but you need a very good stretch shortening cycle to be good. The first variation is gonna be a def drop hold. I usually start everyone here. I wouldn't even start at this height. This is probably what, 20 to 24 inches off the ground. I usually start off with something as basic as this, where you're going into a calf raise, right? So you're raising a little bit off the ground, and then you're dropping and stabilizing in this position, right? So you're gonna stabilize at the bottom, hit that amortization phase, and just hold right there. You're not gonna reverse out yet. And eventually the next progression will be right here, calf raise, drop, and come out. So you're hitting fast eccentric forces into the bottom, hit that amortization phase, and then jump out as fast as possible. And it's called reversal strength to some people, but whatever, right? The next one is gonna be def drops, where you go off a 8 to 24 inch box. Usually most people would probably start with like 10 to 15 inches, and you could literally just come here, and you're going to hit here and stabilize at this bottom position. You wanna land as soft as possible. Think of a quarter squat position. You're landing soft and stabilizing for 3 to 4 seconds. When it comes to sets and reps for the def drop, all you need to do is probably like 3 sets to 4 to 6 reps. Eventually you could build up to 4 to 5 sets of 4, but I would start off with 3 sets of 4, even 3 sets of 3 at maybe 8 inches, build up to 15 to 20 inches, and that'll be a really good stimulus to help develop the stretch shortening. So the next one, we're gonna start adding some fast ground contacts. So instead of just dropping and holding, we're actually gonna pop off the ground as fast as possible. So we're literally gonna come here, we're gonna drop off and treat the floor like it's lava, and popping off as fast as possible. The reason why this is really important is because there's something called a fast stretch shortening cycle and a slow stretch shortening cycle. Fast stretch shortening cycle is usually around, what, 0.1 to 0.15 seconds on the ground, so ground contact time of 0.1 to 0.15 seconds, which is very similar to sprinting. Think about high level sprinters. Every single time they touch the ground, they have a lot of ankle stiffness, and their ground contact time is only gonna be 0.1 to 0.15. So that's really important to develop the fast stretch shortening cycle, and you're gonna be using a lot more ankle dominance, so it's gonna be more ankle dominance, not very quad dominant. And you want to train that ability, train the elastic power in those angles, and then develop the tendon extensibility so you can do it multiple times over and over again. So like we said, we're literally just dropping off here. People are worried about which foot you drop off. Don't worry about it. You literally just hop off and just get off as fast as possible. The floor is lava. You do not want to stay in the lava. Once again, like I talked about earlier, this is going to transfer more to max velocity sprinting, 1 foot jumping, long jump, triple jump, and even some longer distance sprints like the 400 meter, 200 meter, and 800 meter if you're a track sprinter. But even if you're a short sprinter who does acceleration, you still want fast ground contact time, so you still want to train this ability maybe 1 to 2 times per week. Once again, 3 sets of 4, eventually build up to 4 sets of 4, 5 sets of 4. In the Speed Academy, we usually stick around 3 sets of 6 or 4 sets of 4 for the entire program, usually around phase 2 to 4. Now the next one's gonna be training the slow stretch shortening cycle. So this time, instead of going off the ground as fast as possible, we're trying to jump as high as possible off the ground, simply with a little bit more muscular force, right? So now that we're dropping, I'm just gonna show it. You saw the ground contact times, instead of 0.1 seconds, probably was around 0.3 to 0.4 seconds. And I'm trying to get up as high as possible. So you're gonna use a little bit more knee dominance, so a little more patella tendon, a little more glute to try to get up as high as possible. So once again, the difference was the last one was ankle dominant and this one's knee dominant. So last one, we popped off, but this one, we're sinking into our joints and exploding up as fast as possible. Once again, it's not def drop, so we're not pausing and stabilizing, we're just getting out as high as we possibly can. So not only does this train the slow stretch shortening cycle, but it's also training general power, which isn't very specific to dunking and 2-foot jumping, but training general power and training elastic strength in the patella tendon is extremely important for your 2-foot jumps, your 1-foot jumps, because of the joint angles you're jumping from, and even acceleration sprinting, where you get into those deep knee angles and it's very knee dominant, knee over toe type of sprints. So this is one of the best ways to train elastic power and overall general athleticism. You can even play around with this. I'm gonna show you a little bit of a secret I do for sprinters especially, is you can drop off a 20-inch box and then you can go into a broad jump right afterwards. So you're here, and you're simply jumping forward after absorbing all this force at the bottom, hitting that amortization phase, and then exploding forward for a broad jump. You can even do a triple jump. So if you're a triple jumper for long jump, you could do a deft drop into a triple jump, and all you're trying to do is get out as fast as possible and cover as much distance. You can even measure this. So in all my jumps, all my programs, I talk about measuring your jumps, measuring your sprints, see how much distance or how fast you're going. Measure all of this, and then you can progressive overload through intensity every single week. So make sure you're progressive overloading. Don't just shoot up the volume, add a couple reps every single week. And this is gonna be one of the most potent exercises to developing your athleticism.